Welcome to Cyber Explain channel. Today we are going to discuss Microsoft Entra ID, beyond the basics, power, pitfalls, and real-world tactics. You know, most folks talk about Azure AD, or as it's now called, Microsoft Entra ID, like it's just another cloud directory. But we are not here for the beginner stuff, right? We are talking about the architecture, the protocols, the sneaky edge cases, and how this beast actually functions in the wild. Think of it as the central nervous system for identity and access in the Microsoft ecosystem, and honestly, for a lot of other places too. It's where many enterprises put their digital keys, and understanding its intricacies is crucial. We'll explore its strengths, its quirks, and most importantly, where it truly shines versus where you might want to tread carefully. So, buckle up, let's get into the nitty-gritty. So, where does Entra ID really dominate? Think Microsoft 365, obviously. If you are living in that world, Exchange Online, SharePoint, Teams, Entra ID is your default IAM. It's deeply embedded, and that integration is a massive advantage. But it's not just about Microsoft's own cloud stuff. Due to its robust protocols and extensive app gallery, it's become a go-to for single sign-on (SSO) for thousands of third-party SaaS applications. Many organizations, even those not fully committed to the Microsoft cloud, leverage Entra ID for this central authentication point. It's also the backbone for many hybrid identity scenarios, bridging on-premises Active Directory with cloud resources. It's the glue that holds a lot of modern enterprise identity together, especially if you have any Microsoft DNA in your infrastructure. Let's talk about conditional access. This is arguably one of the most powerful features in Entra ID, and it's where a lot of the advanced security really happens. Think of it as a sophisticated policy engine. Instead of just saying yes or no to access, it asks under what conditions? We are talking about granular control based on user, device, location, application, and even real-time risk signals. Ever wondered why some users can access a sensitive app from anywhere, while others need to be on a corporate device, in a specific location, and use MFA? That's conditional access at work. It's not just about granting access. It's about granting the *right access, at the *right time, under the *right circumstances. This is where we move beyond simple authentication to intelligent, dynamic access decisions. Understanding how to craft these policies is key to preventing those oops, that shouldn't have happened moments. Now, who here likes giving out admin keys to everyone? Crickets. That's why Privileged Identity Management, or PIM, is so critical. It's all about just-in-time and just enough access for privileged roles. Instead of permanent admin rights, users activate their privileged access for a limited time when they need it, and often, with an approval workflow. Think of it like a secure vault where you check out a master key, use it for a specific task, and then return it, leaving a clear audit trail. This significantly reduces the attack surface because those powerful permissions aren't sitting around waiting to be compromised. Implementing PIM correctly is a game changer for reducing insider threats and limiting the blast radius of compromised privileged accounts. It's not just for cloud admins, it applies to on-prem roles too. Single sign-on. We all love it as users, right? One login, access to everything. From an architecture perspective, Entra ID acting as an identity provider, IDP, for SSO is a massive win. It leverages protocols like SAML and OAuth to federate identities across your applications. This means you don't have to store credentials for every single app in a separate place. The security benefit is twofold. First, fewer passwords to manage and potentially forget or reuse. Second, when you need to revoke access, you do it in one place, Entra ID, and it propagates to all connected applications. This dramatically simplifies user lifecycle management and reduces the risk of lingering access for former employees or those who changed roles. It's a cornerstone of modern, efficient IAM. Now, let's talk about extending your identity management beyond your own employees. Business to business, B2B, and business to consumer, B2C, are huge. With B2B, you are bringing in external partners, contractors, or suppliers to access your resources. Entra ID B2B collaboration allows you to invite external users with their own credentials, like their work Microsoft account or Google identity, and grant them access to specific applications or resources within your tenant. It's about seamless integration without creating duplicate accounts. Then there's B2C, for customer-facing applications. Entra ID B2C is a separate service that provides identity management for your customers, allowing them to sign up, sign in, and manage their profiles for your apps. It supports social identities, Google, Facebook, enterprise identities, and local accounts. It's a powerful way to handle mass-market user identity. Let's reiterate the M365 integration advantage. It's not just about having your user list in one place. Entra ID is the identity layer for everything in Microsoft 365. This means user provisioning, deprovisioning, group management, and applying security policies across Exchange, SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, and all the other services, often happens automatically or with minimal configuration. This tight coupling dramatically simplifies administration and ensures consistency. When a user is created in Entra ID, they can immediately start accessing licensed M365 services. When they leave, their access is revoked everywhere simultaneously. This is a huge operational efficiency gain and a significant security posture improvement that's hard to beat if you are heavily invested in the Microsoft ecosystem. Beyond just logging in, Entra ID offers a truly expansive suite of identity and access management capabilities. We've touched on conditional access and PIM, but there's also identity protection for detecting risky sign-ins, access reviews for periodic attestation, and even features for managing service principals and application identities. It's built to handle the complexity of modern enterprises, not just a simple username-password store. This breadth means you can consolidate a lot of your IAM tooling into a single platform, rather than managing disparate systems. Think about the effort saved when you don't have to integrate a separate MFA solution, or a separate access review tool, or a separate B2B gateway. That consolidation is a major architectural win. Now, the licensing. This is where things can get a bit complicated. Entra ID has various tiers, free, P1, P2, and B2C. The value proposition comes when you bundle it with Microsoft 365 subscriptions. For instance, many M365 plans include Entra ID P1, giving you access to features like conditional access and SSO for up to 10 apps. Entra ID P2, often included with M365 E5 or as an add-on, unlocks advanced features like identity protection, PIM, and more sophisticated access reviews. The benefit is that you might already have many of these capabilities available without purchasing separate licenses. However, understanding exactly which features are in which license tier can be a labyrinth. It's crucial to map your organization's needs to the correct Entra ID license to maximize value and avoid overspending. Okay, let's get real. Entra ID, despite its power, isn't always a walk in the park. One of the biggest challenges we see is its sheer complexity. The policy engine, the federation configurations, the nuances between B2B and B2C, the vastness of the app gallery, it all requires deep understanding. If you are used to a simpler, more monolithic IAM system, Entra ID can feel like drinking from a fire hose. Misconfigurations in conditional access policies, for instance, can inadvertently lock out entire user groups or grant excessive access. The learning curve can be steep, and the potential for error is significant if not managed by skilled personnel. Remember that licensing point? It's worth hammering home. Trying to figure out if you need P1 or P2 for a specific feature or how it stacks up against your M365 E3 versus E5 license can be a full-time job. Microsoft's licensing documentation can be dense, and features often get moved or rebranded. For example, what used to be a straightforward Azure AD Premium is now broken down across Entra ID P1, P2, and Microsoft Defender for Identity. This lack of clarity can lead to purchasing redundant features or missing out on critical security controls because you weren't on the right plan. Always verify your entitlements and map them to your actual security requirements. It's not just about having the license, it's about using the features it enables correctly. Hybrid environments. The classic IT challenge. If you've got a significant on-premises Active Directory footprint and you are trying to integrate it with Entra ID, it can get interesting. Tools like Entra ID Connect are designed to synchronize identities, but managing those sync rules, dealing with attribute conflicts, and ensuring smooth pass-through authentication or federation can be a real headache. Sometimes, custom scripts or third-party tools are needed to bridge the gaps. The inherent differences in how On-Prem AD and Entra ID handle certain objects and attributes can lead to unexpected behaviors. It's a testament to Entra ID's power that it can do hybrid, but it's rarely as simple as just flicking a switch. You'll often find yourself troubleshooting sync issues, dealing with duplicate sets, or managing complex attribute flows. Let's paint a picture. You've got a large enterprise, fully embracing Microsoft 365. They're using M365 E5 licenses, which include Entra ID P2. But they also have a significant investment in a best-of-breed, third-party SSO solution, let's say Okta or Ping, and a separate MFA platform. Now, they're debating, can Entra ID P2 truly replace these dedicated tools? From an architecture perspective, Entra ID P2 offers robust SSO capabilities via SAML-OAuth, identity protection for risk-based MFA, and PIN for privileged access. The temptation is to consolidate, reduce vendor sprawl, and leverage existing M365 investment. However, the third-party tools might have deeper integrations with niche applications, more mature custom policy engines, or better UX for certain user segments. This is where you need to map features, risk tolerance, existing investments, and future roadmaps. It's not always a simple yes or no, it's about the trade-offs. In our scenario, the enterprise needs to seriously evaluate Entra ID P2's SSO feature set. Does it support all their critical business applications? What about federating with applications that only support older protocols or have very specific SAML requirements? Entra ID's app gallery is vast, but edge cases exist. We'd look at the SAML, OAuth, and OpenID Connect support, and importantly, its ability to act as an identity provider, IDP, for SaaS apps. For on-premises apps, is Entra ID Application Proxy a viable alternative to their current solution? The goal is to see if Entra ID can provide equivalent, or even superior, security and user experience for their SSO needs without the complexity of managing multiple identity providers. For MFA, Entra ID P2's identity protection and conditional access are key. Identity protection offers risk-based MFA, meaning it can prompt for a second factor based on suspicious sign-in attempts. Conditional access allows us to enforce MFA based on user, location, device state, and more. The question becomes, can this match the granularity or specific authentication methods offered by their current MFA solution? For example, do they rely on a specific hardware token vendor that Entra ID doesn't natively support as well, or do they have highly custom MFA policies that are difficult to replicate in conditional access? We'd also consider the user experience. How seamless is the MFA prompt flow? Is the setup process for different MFA methods intuitive for their user base? So, when is Entra ID the absolute no-brainer? If you are a Microsoft 365 shop, that's step 1. If you are heavily invested in Azure services, and need seamless integration with compute, storage, and other PaaS offerings, Entra ID is your IAM foundation. For organizations starting fresh with cloud-native applications and a modern identity strategy, it's often the most cost-effective and integrated solution. If your primary need is SSO for a wide range of common SaaS applications and you are looking to reduce vendor sprawl, Entra ID's extensive gallery and SAML OAuth support make it a strong contender. Also, for SMBs or organizations with limited IT resources, the bundled nature of Entra ID within M365 licenses can be incredibly compelling. On the flip side, when might you want to pause and consider alternatives or complementary solutions? If your enterprise has extremely complex, legacy on-premises applications that rely on specific, proprietary authentication protocols that Entra ID can't easily federate with, a dedicated on-prem IAM solution or a specialized gateway might be needed. If you have highly specific, non-standard security requirements for MFA, example, unique hardware factors, extremely low latency out-of-band, that aren't well supported, you might need to look elsewhere. Also, some organizations prefer a truly vendor-neutral IAM platform for strategic reasons to avoid vendor lock-in, even if it means more integration effort. And as we discussed, if your hybrid AD environment is particularly complex and poorly managed, attempting to overlay Entra ID can be a monumental task. Let's peek under the hood. Entra ID relies on a suite of industry-standard protocols to make all this magic happen. For federation and SSO, you're primarily looking at SAML 2.0, OAuth 2.0, and OpenID Connect. These are the workhorses for enabling applications to trust Entra ID as their identity provider. For synchronizing identities from on-premises, it uses protocols like LDAP, Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, and APIs. For device management and conditional access, it interacts with protocols that allow it to query device health and compliance. Understanding these protocols is key to troubleshooting and advanced configuration. For instance, being able to read a SAML assertion or debug an OAuth flow can tell you a lot about why an SSO connection is failing. At its core, Entra ID is an identity provider. When an application asks, "Is this user who they say they are, and are they allowed to do this?" Entra ID responds. This involves a series of steps. First, authentication, proving identity, usually with credentials like a password, MFA code, or biometrics. Entra ID handles the verification of these credentials. Then, authorization, Entra ID issues security tokens, like JWTs, JSO Web Tokens, containing claims about the user, their identity, group memberships, roles, etc. The application then consumes this token to make its own authorization decisions. This token-based approach is a fundamental shift from older, session-based methods. It allows for a more distributed and scalable trust model. What happens when things don't go according to plan? Let's talk edge cases. Consider federated identities where the upstream identity provider is unavailable. Your SSO breaks. Or what about applications that don't fully support modern SAML or OAuth flows, requiring custom configurations or even legacy protocols? Then there are timing issues with token expiration and renewal, or challenges with cross-tenant access for B2B when network policies or trust configurations are misaligned. Device compliance states not syncing correctly can cause conditional access policies to fail. These are the situations that separate the beginners from the pros. Knowing how to debug these non-standard scenarios requires a deeper understanding of the underlying protocols and how Entra ID interacts with them. Even with its robust features, Entra ID isn't immune to attacks. Phishing remains a top threat, tricking users into revealing their Entra ID credentials. Compromised credentials can then be used for pass-the-hash or pass-the-ticket attacks, especially in hybrid environments. Misconfigured conditional access policies can be a goldmine for attackers. Imagine a policy that allows access from any location if MFA isn't available, and an attacker finds a way to bypass MFA. Privilege escalation is another. If PIM isn't implemented strictly, attackers can gain excessive admin rights. Bypassing MFA is a constant battle, with techniques like MFA fatigue or SIM swapping. And don't forget insider threats. Disgruntled employees with legitimate access can cause significant damage if not properly governed and monitored. So, how do we spot these attacks in action within Entra ID? This is where monitoring and logging become critical. Entra ID provides extensive audit logs, sign-in logs, and risk detection reports. We look for impossible travel scenarios, a user signing in from two continents in minutes, sign-ins from unusual locations or at odd hours, multiple failed sign-in attempts followed by a success, or changes to critical security settings. Entra ID identity protection automatically flags high-risk users and sign-ins. Leveraging CM, security information, and event management tools to aggregate and analyze these logs is paramount. Correlation is key. Seeing a risky sign-in followed by an attempt to access a sensitive application quickly tells a story. What can go wrong with Entra ID itself? Not just attacks on it. Synchronization issues are a big one, users not appearing, group memberships being wrong. Service outages, though rare for the core identity services, can be catastrophic, blocking access for thousands. Policy engine glitches can lead to unintended access grants or denials. The complexity of B2B and B2C setups can lead to configuration errors that break trust relationships. And as we touched upon, incorrect licensing can mean features you think you have simply aren't available, leading to security gaps. These aren't always hacks but system failures that impact operations and security. So, how do we make sure our Entra ID deployment is secure and resilient? First, impeccable hygiene with your conditional access policies. Test them rigorously, use exclusion groups, and review them regularly. Implement PIM for all privileged roles, no exceptions. Enforce strong MFA for everyone and make sure your MFA methods are secure. Regularly review your Entra ID logs and integrate them with your CM. Keep your Entra ID Connect synchronization healthy and monitored. And critically, get your licensing right and understand what features you are actually using. Regular access reviews, both of users and administrative roles, are non-negotiable. Think of it as a continuous process, not a one-time setup. Let's talk about the fundamental life cycle of an identity within Entra ID. When someone joins, we need to create their account. When they leave, we need to remove it. This sounds simple, but in large organizations, it's a massive process. Automated provisioning, ideally connected to your HR system of record, is key. This ensures timely creation of accounts with appropriate initial group memberships and access. Deprovisioning is even more critical. Immediate revocation of access when someone leaves is paramount to preventing breaches. Entra ID can manage this for cloud resources and via Entra ID Connect for synchronized on-prem AD accounts. The goal is to make this process as automated, consistent, and error-free as possible. Within Entra ID, RBAC is how we manage what people can do within Entra ID itself . This isn't about application access yet, but about managing the Entra ID tenant. Think about roles like Global Administrator, User Administrator, Security Administrator, Conditional Access Administrator, etc. Assigning these roles based on the principle of least privilege is crucial. Someone who only needs to manage user accounts shouldn't have the ability to change tenant-wide security policies. This is where PIM also plays a vital role, allowing these administrative roles to be activated just in time. A well-defined RBAC model for Entra ID is the first line of defense for securing the identity management system itself. Let's get a bit more granular on conditional access. Beyond just allow block or require MFA, we have controls like require device to be marked as compliant or require hybrid Entra ID joined device. This is where the integration with Intune, Microsoft's mobile device management becomes super important. If a device isn't managed or compliant, it can't access sensitive data. We can also specify session controls like limit session duration or use app-enforced restrictions for cloud apps like SharePoint. The interaction between different conditions, example, user and device state and location, is where the true power lies. And remember, poorly crafted exclusion rules are often the undoing of these policies. Always test them with pilot groups. It's crucial to remember that Entra ID and on-premises Active Directory serve different, albeit often complementary, purposes. AD is the king of the domain-joined, Windows-centric network. Entra ID is built for the cloud, for federated services, and for a diverse range of devices and platforms. The hybrid model is about leveraging the strengths of both. Entra ID Connect is the bridge, synchronizing identities, and sometimes managing authentication via pass-through or federation. But understanding the boundaries is key. Applications designed purely for AD might not easily work with Entra ID directly, and vice versa. This architectural understanding prevents headaches down the line when troubleshooting access issues. Microsoft offers security defaults in Entra ID, which are pre-configured basic security settings like MFA for admins and blocking legacy authentication. They are great for getting started quickly. However, for any enterprise-level deployment, these defaults are almost always insufficient. You need custom conditional access policies to tailor security to your specific risks and applications. The danger is getting comfortable with security defaults and never moving beyond them. They're a stepping stone, not the destination. Understanding how to migrate from defaults to robust custom policies is a key skill. When you integrate an application with Entra ID, whether for SSO or API access, you create an app registration. This is a critical piece of the puzzle. It defines how the application authenticates to Entra ID and what permissions it has. Mismanaging app registrations, like giving applications excessive API permissions or not revoking them when an app is decommissioned, is a significant security risk. Service principals, which represent these applications in Entra ID, need to be treated with the same rigor as user accounts. Regular reviews of app registrations and their assigned permissions are a must-have. Think of them as service accounts with potentially broad access. They need careful oversight. This is where Entra ID P2 really shines. Identity protection goes beyond just logging. It actively analyzes sign-in behavior to detect risks. Things like anonymous IP address usage, unfamiliar locations, or password spray attacks trigger risk scores. Based on these scores, you can automatically enforce MFA, block access, or require a password reset. It's a proactive defense mechanism that can stop threats before they even impact your applications. Integrating this with your overall security posture, especially your CM, is crucial for a comprehensive threat detection strategy. It's about shifting from reactive incident response to proactive risk mitigation. Every action in Entra ID generates an audit log. This is your absolute best friend for investigations, compliance, and troubleshooting. We're talking about who created a user, who changed a policy, who granted access, who attempted a risky sign-in, who activated a privileged role. Understanding the structure of these logs, the actor, the activity, the target resource, the timestamp is essential. Exporting these logs to ACM is a must-do. Without a robust audit trail, proving compliance, investigating breaches, or simply understanding what happened becomes a guessing game. It's the evidence you need to reconstruct events and enforce accountability. Sometimes, pure Entra ID isn't the answer. You might need a hybrid approach that isn't just about syncing users. For example, if you have critical legacy applications that absolutely must authenticate against an on-prem AD domain, you'll need Entra ID to federate with that on-prem AD, often through ADFS or a similar solution, rather than trying to replace AD entirely. Or, you might use Entra ID for cloud SSO but still rely on a specialized on-prem IAM tool for highly sensitive internal resources or complex workflow approvals that Entra ID doesn't handle natively. It's about architecting the right mix for your specific environment, not forcing a single solution. Microsoft is constantly evolving Entra ID. We are seeing more AI integration for risk detection, advancements in passwordless authentication, like FIDO2, and tighter integration with other security services under the Microsoft Security umbrella. The trend is towards more intelligent, context-aware, and unified identity and access management. Staying updated on these changes is critical. Features get added, licensing might shift, and best practices evolve. What works today might need a tweak tomorrow. Keeping an eye on Microsoft's roadmap and engaging with their updates is essential for maintaining a secure and effective Entra ID deployment. So, to wrap up this deep dive, Entra ID is far more than just a cloud directory. It's a strategic identity and access management platform that, when properly implemented and configured, can be the bedrock of your organization's security. Its integration with Microsoft 365 is unparalleled, and its capabilities for SSO, MFA, and conditional access are incredibly powerful. However, its complexity and licensing nuances mean it's not a set-it-and-forget-it solution. Understanding its architecture, protocols, and potential pitfalls is vital. For those embracing the Microsoft ecosystem, mastering Entra ID is no longer optional, it's a core competency for modern cybersecurity. It's about building that trusted foundation for everything else. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the CyberExplain channel. See you on the next video.